Welcome back, everyone. Here's a new section, section 7.3, equations in quadratic form. Some little insight. Remember back in unit 4, we used substitution to help us in factoring polynomials of higher order. So when you look at example 1, it says parentheses 2x squared minus 5 closed to the power of 2 minus 16 parentheses 2x squared minus 5 close the parentheses plus 39 equal to 0. The first thing I notice is that the insides match. So the first thing we're going to do, since they've already used x's in the parentheses, I'm going to use another letter for substitution. I'm going to use the letter A since it's the first letter of the alphabet. So A is going to represent 2x squared minus 5. And wherever you see 2x squared minus 5, that is going to be replaced with an A. So now we become A squared minus 16A plus 39 equal to 0. So if you've noticed, we took a higher ordered exponent because if I were to square this bubble out, I would have an x to the 4. I've broken it down to a simple factorial polynomial here. So numbers that multiply to be 39 that add to negative 16. So now is where you have to think of your factors. Well, 39 is, if you add 3 and 9, that gives you 12, and 12 is divisible by 3. So I can go with 13 and 3 multiply to be 39. And in order to get negative 16, they now need to both be negative. So I'm going to break this down by factoring to become a minus 13 and a minus 3. So a is going to be a 13. A is going to be equivalent to a 3. Now remember, a was not part of the original problem. A is a representation of 2x squared minus 5. So now we're going to substitute back. 2x squared minus 5 is set equal to 13. 2x squared minus 5 is set equal to 3. We're going to do our math. We're going to add 5 over. So 2x squared equals 18. Divide by 2. X squared equals 9. And then take the square root of both sides. So when you take the square root of both sides, you have two situations. It's a plus minus, square root of 9 is 3. You're going to repeat the same process with the second equation. You're going to add 5 over. So you get 2x squared equals 8. Divide both sides by 2. So you get x squared equals 4. And then again, take the square root of both sides. And remember, you have a plus minus situation, plus and minus 2. Remember, we have 4 solutions in this problem because if we go back to the original, x squared, and if I square it, 2 and 2 make 4. So there should be 4 solutions to their problem, which means that this equation, if we were to graph it, would cross the x-axis 4 times. Okay, example 2. Example 2 says p to the 2/3 power minus 2p to the 1/3 is equal to 8. Obviously, I was not going to give you an easy problem. First thing we need to do is move the 8 over so we're in descending power. So we have p to the 2/3 minus 2p to the 1/3 minus 8 set equal to 0. So obviously, we don't deal with exponential fractions. So we need to factor this out using our rules from exponents. So I'm going to rewrite this as p to the 1/3 with a 2 on the outside, minus 2, and I'll put p to the 1/3 in parentheses, so it matches the first one, minus 8 equal to 0. When we go to here, we see that both parentheses are the same. Since they use p's, I'm going to use the letter x this time. So x is going to represent p to the 1/3, which is actually the cube root of p. So now I see x squared minus 2x minus 8 equal to 0. So we started with fractional exponents, and now we have numbers we can factor out. So again, we need numbers that multiply to be negative 8, that add to be negative 2. Well, 8 is 4 and 2. In order to get a negative 8, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. In order for them to add to be negative 2, the 4 had to be negative. So now we become x minus 4 times x plus 2 equal to 0. Break it out. X is equal to 4. X is equal to negative 2. But x was not part of our original problem. We used the letter p. So now we're going to substitute back in. But I'm going to use the cube root situation. So I'm going to say that the cube root of p is equal to 4. Cube root of p is equal to -2. And remember your rules of cubic functions. If you have a cube root, to break it out, you raise it to a power of 3 to both sides. So raising this to a power of 3, the right to a power of 3. So p is equivalent to 4 cubed, which is 64. Parentheses, parentheses, power of 3's for both. So p is equal to, remember, it's -2 times itself 3 times. So 3 negatives in a row, you are still negative. So you are -8.